My boyfriend was getting engaged, but his fiancée wasn't me. When I rushed to the engagement ceremony, I saw Damien standing on the stage. He was breathtaking in a tailored suit, obsidian cufflinks gleaming against his pristine shirt, his appearance as flawless as ever. But the woman standing across from him, she was barely 4 feet and 7 inches, overweight, and her face was covered with shiny pimples that looked ready to burst. My boyfriend was marrying her? The events of the previous night flashed through my mind, feeling like a lifetime ago. I had just come home from my internship, only to be pinned to the bed by Damien. He leaned in, his voice hoarse as he kissed me and said, "Baby, don't think of me as human tonight." That night, he consumed me entirely. But when I woke up the next morning, he was gone. His phone number was disconnected, and all his social media accounts, WhatsApp, Instagram, were deactivated. It was as if he'd vanished from my world without warning. Then, his lawyer arrived. It was midday when the lawyer knocked on my door. He said Damien had specifically instructed him to come at this hour so as to disturb my rest. He handed me a document, and I skimmed it in confusion. It was a transfer of assets, a villa, a Bentley, and $2.5 million in cash, clearly stating that Damien had willingly gifted them to me as a thank you for our 4 years together. So, he inexplicably dumped me and treated me like a kept woman, throwing money at me? But I didn't need his money. I'd told him that when we first started dating. His response back then had been confident and dismissive. "No matter how rich you are, you'll never have more than me." I let it go because I loved him. But why did we have to break up like this? Last night, he'd been so cold and distant, yet so passionate and desperate at the same time. He couldn't stop telling me he loved me. How could he just walk away? I forced myself to stay calm and used my family's connections to investigate. It didn't take long to figure out the truth, and that's how I ended up at the engagement ceremony. From his expression, it was obvious Damien wasn't happy. Was he being forced into this marriage? Kiss! Kiss! A shout erupted from the crowd, and the fiancé reached for Damien's hand. He instinctively stepped back, avoiding her. The woman scowled, her thick lips quivering as she spat angrily. "Did you already forget what you promised me?" Damien's face turned pale, but he reluctantly stepped forward. He was being threatened. I was sure of it. I couldn't hold back any longer. Pushing through the crowd, I shouted, "Damn. If something's wrong, tell me. Don't force yourself like this." All eyes turned toward me. When Damien saw me, a glimmer of warmth flickered in his cold gaze, but it quickly froze over. "Who is this woman?" the fiancé snarled, glaring at me. "You even have a nickname for my fiancé. Who do you think you are?" I opened my mouth to explain, but Dammy, and cut me off. Frowning, his sharp brows knitted in frustration as he said, "She's just a pathetic leech. Get her out of here. She's not worth your attention." A leech? I could feel the disdain in every gaze that turned my way, judgment dripping from their stares. Right, who would ever take a cleany leech seriously? But I wasn't one. Damien and I met during a club activity in college. I'd just finished practicing my mixed martial arts and was starving, so I sneaked some snacks from my roommate's stash. When she found out, she teased me and said I had to call her master to make up for it. It was all harmless fun between roommates, so I didn't think much of it and actually went along with it, calling her master. That's when Damien stepped in, defending me. He said it wasn't right to pick on someone just because they seemed poor. Then he turned to me and scolded me for taking someone else's food. He was the type loved being the righteous guy, always standing up for what was fair. After that, I played the part of a struggling, pitiful girl and clung to him every day. It didn't take long before we started dating, and soon the whole campus knew about it. People said I was a gold digger and that Damien was taking care of me. I didn't want to embarrass him, so I told him my family was actually quite wealthy. But he didn't seem to care either way.